What if I told you that the very rules you've been taught to follow are the exact chains keeping you from power, success, and freedom? Niccolo Machiavelli, the infamous political philosopher, understood something most people refuse to accept. Society's rules aren't designed to help you win. They're designed to keep you compliant, predictable, and easy to control. Today, we're diving into 7 so-called sacred rules that Machiavelli would tell you to shatter if you want to rise above mediocrity. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're psychological principles that separate those who lead from those who follow. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll see the world through a completely different lens. But I have to warn you, once you understand these principles, you can never unsee them. Before we begin, let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy being nice? How many times has someone less qualified than you gotten ahead because they weren't afraid to bend the rules you religiously followed? Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But today's society tells you the opposite. Be agreeable, don't make waves, play it safe. Here's the reality. While you're being polite, someone else is being strategic. While you're waiting your turn, someone else is taking what they want. Let's break down the 7 rules that are holding you back. Rule 1. Always tell the truth. Society preaches radical honesty. Your parents told you that lying is wrong. Your teacher said honesty is the best policy. And while this sounds morally righteous, Machiavelli would call it strategically foolish. In The Prince, Machiavelli explicitly states that successful leaders must know how to be a fox, cunning and deceptive when necessary. He observed that those who rely solely on honesty are often crushed by those who understand strategic information management. This doesn't mean you should become a pathological liar. Instead, understand that truth is a tool, not a religion. There are situations where complete transparency works against your interests. Sometimes, withholding information, reframing facts, or knowing when to remain silent is the smarter play. Consider job negotiations. If an employer asks what you're currently making, total honesty might cost you tens of thousands of dollars. A strategic response that redirects to your value proposition serves you better. The Machiavellian principle: master the art of strategic communication. Know when transparency serves you and when discretion protects your position. The fox survives by being clever, not by being predictable. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds manipulative. And you're right, it is. But here's what nobody tells you. Everyone is manipulating reality already. The question isn't whether you'll play the game, it's whether you'll play it consciously or remain a pawn in someone else's strategy. Rule 2. Treat everyone equally. Modern society worships at the altar of egalitarianism. We're told to treat everyone the same, give everyone equal time and attention, and value all relationships equally. Machiavelli would call this a catastrophic waste of resources. In reality, not everyone in your life deserves equal investment. Some people will elevate you, others will drain you. Some connections will open doors, others will keep you trapped in mediocrity. The harsh truth is that your time, energy, and loyalty are finite resources that must be allocated strategically. Machiavelli understood that power requires building strategic alliances with those who can advance your position while keeping potential threats neutralized. He advocated for knowing the difference between useful allies and dangerous dependencies. Look at your current circle. Are you spending equal energy on someone who constantly takes but never gives? Are you prioritizing relationships based on history rather than utility? The harsh truth is that your time, energy, and loyalty are finite resources that must be allocated strategically. Machiavelli understood that power requires building strategic alliances with those who can advance your position while keeping potential threats neutralized. Look at your current circle. Are you spending equal energy on someone who constantly takes but never gives? Are you prioritizing relationships based on history rather than utility? The harsh truth is that your time, energy, and loyalty are finite resources that must be allocated strategically. Machiavelli understood that power requires building strategic alliances with those who can advance your position while keeping potential threats neutralized. Look at your current circle. Are you spending equal energy on someone who constantly takes but never gives? Are you prioritizing relationships based on history rather than utility? The harsh truth is that your time, energy, and loyalty are finite resources that must be allocated strategically. Machiavelli understood that power requires building strategic alliances with those who can advance your position while keeping potential threats neutralized. Look at your current circle. Are you spending equal energy on someone who constantly takes but never gives? Are you prioritizing relationships based on history rather than utility? The harsh truth is that your time, energy, and loyalty are used. Rule 3. Be humble and don't self-promote. Society, especially in certain cultures, teaches us that self-promotion is distasteful. We're supposed to quietly do good work and wait for recognition to come naturally. Your work will speak for itself, they say. Machiavelli would tell you that's a recipe for invisibility. In The Prince, Machiavelli emphasizes that perception shapes reality. A leader must not only be competent, but must be seen as competent. Appearance matters as much as substance, because human beings make decisions based on what they perceive, not always what's objectively true. Look at the business world. The person who gets promoted isn't always the hardest worker. It's the person whose contributions are most visible. The entrepreneur who succeeds isn't necessarily the one with the best product, but the one who markets most effectively. Nobody is coming to discover your brilliance. You must make it known. This doesn't mean becoming an insufferable braggart. Strategic self-promotion means documenting your wins, communicating your value clearly, and ensuring decision-makers know what you bring to the table. The Machiavellian principle: control your narrative, publicize your victories, make your competence visible. In a world of noise, silence equals non-existence. The humble get overlooked. The strategic get remembered. Here's where things get really interesting. The next rule we're going to break is probably the one you've been clinging to the hardest. It's the belief that's keeping you stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. Ready? Rule 4. Loyalty above all else. We romanticize loyalty. Stand by your friends no matter what. Stay with your company through thick and thin. Support your family unconditionally. It sounds noble, but Machiavelli saw loyalty differently. He recognized that blind loyalty makes you exploitable. In Chapter 17 of The Prince, he warns that people will take advantage of your goodness if you display it without strategic calculation. Loyalty should be earned continuously, not granted automatically based on past relationships or titles. How many people have stayed in toxic jobs out of misplaced loyalty to a company that would replace them in a heartbeat? How many have maintained friendships with people who consistently undermine them because we've been friends forever? Machiavelli observed that princes who were destroyed often fell because they were too trusting and loyal to the wrong people. Strategic leaders maintain relationships based on mutual benefit and current value, not historical sentiment. Rule 5. Avoid conflict and confrontation. From childhood, we're taught to avoid conflict. Don't rock the boat. Keep the peace. Choose your battles. While conflict avoidance sounds mature, it's often just cowardice disguised as wisdom. Machiavelli understood that conflict is not only inevitable but necessary. In The Prince, he argues that neutrality in conflicts often leads to being despised by both sides. Taking a stand, even a controversial one, establishes strength and clarity. Think about it. Every major advancement in your life probably came from confrontation of some kind. Asking for a raise, ending a bad relationship, standing up for your ideas, setting boundaries. These moments of productive conflict create growth. The people who avoid all confrontation don't keep peace, they accumulate resentment and miss opportunities. Meanwhile, those who engage strategically in necessary conflicts earn respect and clear the path forward. Rule 6. Play fair and follow the established rules. Society operates on the assumption that if you follow the rules, work hard, and play fair, you'll eventually succeed. This is perhaps the most dangerous lie of all. Machiavelli observed that those in power didn't get there by following the same rules they now enforce on others. They bent, broke, and rewrote rules to establish their position. Once secure, they advocate for rule following to prevent others from doing what they did. Look at any industry. The most successful people found loopholes, challenged conventions, and operated at the edges of acceptability. Steve Jobs didn't follow the rules of phone design. Elon Musk doesn't follow conventional business wisdom. They created new paradigms. This isn't about being unethical or illegal. It's about recognizing that the rules often serve those already in power and hinder those trying to rise. Fair play is a luxury afforded to those who've already won. The Machiavellian principle. Study the rules thoroughly, then find creative ways around them. Innovation means doing what others won't or can't. Understand the boundaries of acceptable behavior, then operate skillfully at those edges. Ask forgiveness, not permission. The pioneers are rarely the ones who colored inside the lines. Rule number 7. Good things come to those who wait. Perhaps the most paralyzing rule of all. Be patient, wait your turn, good things come to those who wait. This passive philosophy keeps talented people sidelined while less capable but more aggressive individuals seize opportunities. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold. In chapter 25 of The Prince, he uses the metaphor of fortune as a river that can be controlled by those who build dams and channels before floods come. In other words, those who act decisively rather than wait passively. Waiting is not a strategy, it's the absence of one. While you're waiting for the right time or the perfect opportunity, circumstances change, windows close, and others move ahead. Yes, patience has its place in execution and timing, but confusing strategic patience with passive waiting is fatal. The former involves active preparation. The latter is just hope disguised as virtue. The Machiavellian principle: create opportunities rather than waiting for them. When you see an opening, move decisively. Bias toward action. You can always adjust course once moving, but you can't steer a parked car. Fortune favors those who force circumstances rather than those who wait for circumstances to favor them. So there you have it, 7 rules Machiavelli would tell you to break. But here's the final test of whether you truly understood this video. What will you do now? Most people will watch this, feel momentarily enlightened, then return to the comfortable prison of social conditioning. They'll continue being honest when strategy calls for discretion, loyal when they're being exploited, and patient when aggression is required. A small percentage will recognize these principles for what they are: not evil, but realistic; not manipulative, but strategic; not cruel, but effective. The choice is yours. You can keep following rules designed to keep you controllable, or you can embrace the uncomfortable reality that power, success, and freedom require operating by different principles than those taught in kindergarten. Machiavelli wasn't teaching immorality, he was teaching effectiveness. He understood that the world is not as we wish it to be, but as it actually is. And in that real world, the strategic prevail over the idealistic. If this resonated with you, drop a comment sharing which rule you're committed to breaking first. Subscribe for more psychology and philosophy that challenges conventional thinking. And remember, the lions may be stronger, but it's the foxes who survive. Now go out there and stop playing by rules that were never designed for your victory.